Hello, I am Dr. Abha Singh. Today we will learn about Consumer Protection Act. This was passed by Indian Parliament in year 1986 to safeguard and protect the interest of consumers. Before that, case against dentist or any medical professional were decided by civil court and sometimes under Indian Contract Act, which was time consuming and used to consume a lot of money. With little background, let's start with the session. On 24th October 1986, in order to provide better protection for the consumers, Lok Sabha introduced Consumer Protection Act. It came into force on 15th April 1987. It was on 13th November 1995 that the Honorable Supreme Court of India delivered judgment on application of Consumer Protection Act to the medical, dental professional, hospitals, dispensaries, nursing homes and other related services. Now in 2019, an amendment was passed which came into force on 20 July 2020. The dates are quite important in terms of NEET exam and also when you're writing your answer. Let's look on few cases before proceeding. This case happened in Bangalore where the person X visited dentist with a complaint of severe tooth pain and gum pain. So it was like a normal routine checkup. The patient was examined and advised for root canal treatment. Appointment was given. Patient was called after few days. According to the case, the treatment was done on 18th July and patient was asked to come after 1 week for crown placement. But before that, patient developed swelling, infection, severe pain. So what do you think patient might have done next? As a human being, in this situation, anybody might have done the same thing. Patient immediately went to another hospital. Earlier, patient visited to a clinic. Now this patient went to a hospital where she was confirmed that the RCT that was performed was wrong and they advised for extraction. So obviously after hearing this, a person who has already spent money for treatment and now is advised to pay more money so that she can get her tooth extracted will get panicked. So immediately she went to Dr. ABC. She approached her and started asking for refund. And we know that being a dentist or a medical professional, word of mouth is a major advertisement policy. After that, doctor immediately refunded her the amount whatever she has paid for RCT. Later, patient filed a case because she has lost her tooth. She went to the doctor thinking that the treatment will be done and the tooth will be saved, but now she has to go for extraction. So she filed a complaint in district commission and asked for 10 lakhs compensation for the tooth loss and weight loss. Now, why she have also added weight loss? Because from the time of getting RCT done till the time of getting a decision or money back, whatever loss she has gone through, not only mentally, physically, and what all struggle she has gone through is visible through her weight loss. So in that term, she has put it. But though later she was not able to give any proof for her weight loss, only tooth loss was considered for compensation. So the case lasted for 3 years and district court asked doctor to pay 50,000 for the negligence and 10,000 as litigation expenses. Let's take another example. This happened in Maharashtra where Mr. X went to a doctor. He wanted to get his teeth corrected. He had malalignment. So he started his treatment, but after 6 months, he was not so happy. So he stopped his treatment. Now, after few days or after few weeks, definitely he'll have pain. Because if somebody is given an ortho appliance and the appliance is not getting tuned, or if it is not worked, we all know that if there is no follow-up, definitely the person will have pain in later stage. So similar thing happened here. But this doctor was not happy from the previous dentist, so for the next appointment or for the follow-up checkup, he went to another dentist. Now that dentist told that the previous treatment was not done correctly, and it won't get fixed, so you have to restart it. Now the person obviously will get pissed off. What do you think this person might have done next? Mr. X got panicked. He collected some information and registered a case in district court where the doctor did not come, and the verdict was given in favor of Mr. X. According to the verdict, doctor was supposed to pay around 60,000, but her huge mistake was not coming to the court, and this is considered as disrespect of court, which later on she had to pay more for that. Now, as the doctor was not satisfied, she applied in state court, and later state court founded that her certificate was not DCI recognized, and she has not done MDS in ortho, and she has just done a course, certificate course, and she started treating patients. Two important things about this case is, first is hiding proper information, as she said she is a specialist in orthodontics, and second thing was not keeping a proper record of patient because she was not able to produce any proof saying that informed consent was taken and patient was explained about the treatment and all the complications, though doctor was telling that she has explained all the complication and it was a difficult case, but still she need a proof. For that, informed consent is very important. We can see that the court order was, we are of the opinion that practicing super specialty in dentistry, either orthodontics, without formal recognized postgraduate qualification in orthodontics is considered as medical negligence by a dental professional. Additionally, not maintaining proper treatment records as prescribed in the Code of Dental Ethics to be considered as medical negligence by the dental professional under Consumer Protection Act. For this, the doctor was asked to pay 2 lakhs rupees compensation. Again, it's not only about the compensation, but about the harassment she has gone through, about the negative news about her which has spread in her locality. To make sure this doesn't happen with us, we should know Consumer Protection Act in detail. Consumer Protection Act was given in 1986. This was given for better protection of consumer and settlement of consumer dispute. Advantage of this act was the limited time period in which decision will be taken, and there is no court fees payable, only the application fee should be paid. Before proceeding further, we should know what is a consumer. Consumer Protection Act defines consumer in two types. First one is a person who buy any good for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partially paid or partially promised. Consideration is a very important word over here. It does not mean that the person is going to pay something. Consideration means for us when somebody promised something in exchange. For example, if I buy a pen and I give the person 10 rupees, for that person 10 rupees is the consideration, and for me the pen is consideration. But with this definition, Consumer Protection Act also says that but does not include a person who obtains such good for resale or for any commercial purpose. Now, second definition is very important for us. This says hires or avails of any service for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partially paid and partially promised. Why partially is important here? Because mostly for the treatment which have continuous visits, for example in ortho treatment, people won't give full payment. They are partially paid, but it's not like they cannot go to consumer court and claim something if something wrong happens. They have rights. Now here also Consumer Protection Act have put a but, that is, it does not include a person who avail such services for any commercial purpose. Now why it is important? For example, if I buy an AC for my house, it is for my personal use. If something happens, I can go and complain in consumer court. But if I buy an AC for an office space, which is commercially registered and I'm paying GST for it, I cannot complain in consumer court because now this have become a civil case. Civil cases normally go for Sales for Good Act 1930. So this comes under the commercial purchase. Moving to another topic, who is liable to Consumer Protection Act? First, a doctor with independent practice, private hospital that is charging fees, or a hospital that have free service as well as paying patients also, and a doctor or a hospital who comes under any insurance plan or who have clients or employees who are visiting to him and they are covered under insurance plan. But if you're not charging any patient, you are doing a free to all service, or you own a hospital that is made for free services, you're not liable under Consumer Protection Act. Consumer Protection Act is important, and equally important is the procedure of how the complaint can be launched. A complaint should contain the following information: name and address of the complainant, name and address of the opposite party or parties, description of the fact of the complaint, documentary evidence regarding the complaint, relief expected. Permissible time limit to file a complaint is 2 years from the date of injury. This is important. The time starts from the date of injury and not from the date of disability certificate issued. However, if the injury is continuous, then the start time from the date of last treatment given should be considered. Now, if somebody is having a doubt what is a disability certificate, whenever any part of our body stops performing as it was supposed to perform, it is called as disability. It is not able to perform the function it was supposed to perform. So for that, if we want, we can get a disability certificate. Even if a tooth is extracted, its function was to chew. Now that function is not being fulfilled. So the person is actually disabled, though it does not have a large consideration, but when filing a case, this can be a point. You should also know where to apply and what is the permissible amount. It is a three-tier system. This is done to reduce the burden. First level is district level, where upper limit of compensation is up to 1 crore. Before it was 20 lakhs and it got amended in 2019 and brought into action in 2020. Before that it was 5 lakhs and that got amended in 2002. Now, District Commission, earlier known as District Consumer Forum, contains District Judge as President and 2 members. These 2 members can be member of society, one of which should be a woman. They should have knowledge, experience, and have good standing in society. They should also have knowledge in the field of economics, law, industry, public affairs and administration. Similarly, on level second, which is state levels or state commission, earlier it was known as State Consumer Forum. Compensation is from 1 crore below 10 crores. Earlier it was from 20 lakhs to 1 crore. The president here is High Court judge, and there will be again 2 members, and criteria for 2 members are as same of uh, district court or district commission. The next level is third level, that is National Consumer Forum or National Commission. Here Supreme Court judge will be there, and there are 5 members instead of 2 members. The amount here is more than 10 crores. Earlier it was more than 1 crore. Now above all of them, earlier there was nobody to supervise, or we can say there was no commission, but now there is a new governing body called as Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, formed. Now let us see how we can prevent litigation, but by chance if it happens, we should never avoid. Do's that we should follow. Mention the qualification on prescription always. Patient can never say that I was not told this doctor is underqualified or is not of the same specialization for which I have come for treatment. Always mention date and time for consultation. Mention age, gender and weight if it is a child. We all know doses of drug depends on weight of child. It is very important to mention weight, age of the child. In complicated cases, record case history. Always mention about the physical findings and what are the complications in the case history. If the patient attendant or the patient are a little irritated or they don't agree with the treatment plan you are giving, then take a refusal before the patient leaves in the local language, in the language they speak. Later they cannot say that doctor denied treatment. Write the drug name clearly. It is always made fun that a doctor write in a language that only a chemist can understand, but sometimes even chemist cannot understand. If you have written some drug and chemist gives some other drug, this will become issue for you and not for the chemist. The blame will come on you that you have written it wrong. Mention whether prognosis is explained or not. Actually, it should be like always explain the prognosis. If it is bad, explain them that we can try our best, but if the treatment fails or we are not able to pull up the treatment, we won't be able to save your tooth or the part or whatever you are talking about. There will be many cases where patients have visited several dentists and they're coming to you for a 10th or 15th opinion. Everybody have said no, and by chance you'll say yes. He will be in a lot of hope and the prognosis turns out to be very bad and nothing happens. He'll be so furious, wasting his time and wasting his money. Obviously he'll go for the court. He'll file a case. In case of any deviation from the standard treatment, mention the reason. Do not experiment. You're not doing a research in your clinic. If you want to do a research, please join a research center or a dental college. You cannot do in your clinic. Now specifically mention the review time and the follow-up schedule, so that in case if the patient does not turn up on the particular day and something else happens, you can tell that it was not your fault and patient did not turn up. Mention if patient or patient's attendant is under the effect of alcohol or drug. It is very important. In case of particular drug or equipment is not available, please make a note of it. Mention where the patient should contact in case of non-availability and emergency of you. It is very important. I have seen cases where extraction was done. Patient started bleeding after 4 hours and it was night around 1 o'clock. He did not knew whom to contact. He was contacting on the given number which was there on prescription, but because doctor thought his duty is done, Now clinic is closed, I can turn off my phone and I can live my life. That does not happen. Establish a standard treatment of common pediatric disorders. Everybody should know that. Whoever works there, whoever works in your clinic, in your private organization, everybody should know that there should not be any change, because dealing with kids is very important. There are several cases seen where a little bit of anesthesia was given or exceeded and the patient went into coma. We should not do. Whenever there is a case in Consumer Protection Act, please don't ignore. It will be counted as disrespect of the court. Do not give unnecessary detail and do not volunteer to hand over your document to anybody until unless court asks for it or any authoritative person asks for it. Now do not get panicked or frightened. The law is made for safeguard of both you and the consumer. It is not to target only the doctors. Do not hesitate to discuss this with your colleagues. Maybe they have also faced the same thing. They can tell you how to overcome this. And do not hesitate to discuss the case with the patient and attendant before this all happens. If any complication is there, be open. Do not write Ayurvedic or homeopathic or Unani formulation because you are not qualified to write any of them. Do not examine the patient if you are sick, exhausted, or under effect of alcohol. Never talk loose to your colleagues, and do not adopt experimental method in treatment. Next important thing in private practice is consent taking. With case number 2, you might have understood how important is consent taking. Doctor did not take it and did not mention about the prognosis or anything or what she is going to do for the treatment, and she ended up losing 2 lakhs and her reputation. The Supreme Court of India has given specific guidelines about consent. There are 6 types. To know more about this, you can see our another video made on consents. Now there is one more important section, section 53(2), where a female is to be examined only in presence of a female doctor or under supervision of a female doctor. This is an example of informed consent, which is mostly taken in researches. Here you can see that study title is mentioned, then name of supervisor and name of investigator, then about information, what the person is going to do. You can see that this consent is just about examination, but still we have to take that. Even for examination, if it is for research purposes, we have to take consent from the patient that you're okay with us doing your examination. Patient name will come here, address, contact number, signature of patient, signature of the person who is doing, investigator, and supervisor. Now after this, there are some important points we should keep in our mind. First is, it should be taken before the treatment starts. Many times we do this when we are studying in a college, that we'll forget to take signature and we'll end up taking signature when we see our staff and we are like, oh my god, I just forgot to take informed consent. Make a habit from starting when you are studying. Take signature before you start doing treatment. It should be modified according to the requirements. Now when you'll open a clinic, you'll think that why should take printout of so many consent for different treatments when I don't know how many of them are going to be used, and you'll end up doing RCT or extraction or implant or impaction or surgical extraction or keep on going with that. And when patient comes with multiple treatment, you might end up ticking up those things. That is not ethical. You should have one informed consent for one treatment. You cannot mark multiple treatment in one. Now everything should be customized. If you are going to do an RCT, the consent should contain explanation of the treatment, what you are going to do. Whether it's extraction, it should explain you're going to give an LA and extracting the tooth. Now it's prefer that the concern is in local language. It is very important. Later, if there is some case, patient might say that I don't know what is written here and I just signed on it. Now, written consent should be referred to a specific procedure, not a mixture of everything. Before wrapping up, let us just see what is the difference between Consumer Protection Act 1986 and Consumer Protection Act 2019. So in 1986 there was no regulator or governing body, and now we have one that is known as Central Consumer Protection Authority or CCPA. In 1986, the complainant was allowed to file complaint only from where the person have bought the thing or the location of the office of the seller. But now complaint can be filed from anywhere, and even online complaint can be filed. Next, about product liability. This was very important additional point, because earlier if the product used get damaged after a few months, it cannot be you cannot drag the seller into the court. But now if the product fails to work or give the optimal output after some months, it falls under the Consumer Protection Act. Next is about the amount of compensation that is increased. We have already spoken about this. Then e-commerce earlier was not following under Consumer Protection Act. If you have bought anything from Amazon and it is still working, you are lucky. Earlier, if you bought something for 1 lakh and it stopped working after 7 days and you don't have any option of returning, you cannot file a complaint. Then last point is presence of complainant in the court. That was very important earlier. Physical presence of the person who have filed the complaint in the court and the person on whom complaint was going on. Now it is made easier, and the person can also make settlement through mediation. Now, one important point is Consumer Protection Act 2019 have deleted healthcare from definition of service, but we still fall under the definition of consumers because they are availing service. Now, it's not like everything is made to trap us. Now, there are few companies which have come forward and they have come up with a product called Professional Indemnity Bond. Now, this is a type of insurance, a business insurance. If something happens, the company will fight on behalf of us. That does not mean that we can go ahead and do anything wrong. We are human beings, things happens with us. So if we have taken an insurance plan, they can fight case on behalf of us, but it should not come under the following. It does not cover liability arising out of any connection with a criminal act, under influence of intoxicants or narcotics, weight reduction, plastic surgery, HIV or AIDS cases. To summarize, we can say that Consumer Protection Act is a consumer-specific legislation designed to provide a speedy and inexpensive remedy to the consumers. It has three-tier machinery at district, state and national level for the compensation and to reduce the burden. There are 6 types of consent, and consent taking is very important, and there are 5-point changes in Consumer Protection Act 2019. Thank you for watching this video. Keep motivating us by subscribing our channel. Do come back for the next video. Thank you.